All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. It's good to see everybody here. Today's keynote now is going to be the third one of the day on day 3 of EIA 2020 virtual style. So thanks for coming and joining us. During this keynote, you're going to hear from 7 generations of EIA alumni who have gone from idea to actual filing of a patent or a trademark. We're going to hear from successful entrepreneurs from all over the world that are going to join our virtual stage so that you can learn firsthand from the people that are where you have been, where you are right now. And today's keynote speaker and host is On the Lou. Yes, his middle name is The, and I think that's probably because his mother foresaw that he was going to be one of the best people in the world. On is not only an EIA legend just because of his killer legal skills and his enormous dedication to startups, but it's because he's really an amazing person, as most of you already know this. And I was honored to be there last year in person in Cascais, Portugal at EIA when something totally crazy happened that I'm going to share with you. So yes, that was, from what I heard and what I've been told, the only time a speaker, especially a patent person, has ever gotten a standing ovation. And this is just to show you how everybody that knows On, this is how they all feel. There was hundreds of people there, everybody jumping up and showing him their appreciation for him pouring his heart out on the stage. So with that, On, take it over, buddy. Good luck.
Wow, thanks, Brad. Those are some expectations to live up to. But, well, hey, today we are going to write a love letter to EIA. We're going to look at success stories in the IP world over the past 7 years. So this is going to be an amazing journey through the past 7 years of EIA that was created by Anni as our CEO. And along the way, we've got some guest stars. So we're going to be traveling first class around the world. So my name is On. I am an attorney at Nixon Peabody, and I'm elated to be here. I have been with EIA since the very first year, back in 2013. At the time, I was 29, and nobody needs to respond to that statement. We're just going to keep it like that. I actually created the IP curriculum that we're using to this day at EIA. I mean, over the years, I've begged and I've recruited and I've brought many, many different amazing rock star lawyers to join EIA. Over the past couple of years at Nixon Peabody, we've stabilized a core group, including Brad and Ella, who you've seen many times in Italy and Portugal. Every year, we seem to recruit a few more. Here's Dan, here's Lauren, here's Jenny. This year, we've added 5 more. We've got Aaron, Ariel, Pierce, Alexis. They're all giving keynotes throughout the week, so I hope you join. But we are super, super excited to be part of the EIA experience, none of which would be possible if not for this amazing woman. Turn it over to you, Anni.
Yes, thank you so much, On. So my name is Anni Sinijarv, and I am the CEO as well as the co-founder of European Innovation Academy. And I was 24 years old when I started EIA. Not 29 On, but yeah, I give it for you. So I started the European Innovation Academy when I was really young. So I have seen the whole journey of the program and of European Innovation Academy. So I'm really, really happy and I'm really proud to see some of our most successful startup stories today here. And
all right, and you look very professional in this photo, but I want to show everybody the real Anni. Our queen.
I knew that you're going to put that photo there. I knew it. Yeah, so if you think that the job of CEO is tough, then it tends to be, but not at EIA. So every summer I spend surrounded by beautiful, smart people. I really can't complain, right, Don?
Anni is our queen. Let me give you an insider tip for everybody that's on the call, and I see a lot of you. Every summer, we have a special private beach party that Anni hosts. So the next time we have EIA, ask her about the beach party. It all started in 2013 in this fairy tale kingdom called Tallinn, Estonia. Ken Singer, who used to live across the hall from me in San Francisco, came to me one day and said, "Hey, An, you're an IP lawyer, right?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Would you like to teach IP to students and startups?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Hey, well, we're gonna go to Tallinn." And I'm like, "Tallinn, oh my God, that's so exciting." And he said, "Do you know where Tallinn is?" I said, "No." And he said, "Well, it's in Estonia." And I'm like, "Wow, Estonia, how awesome, I'm so excited." Ken says, "Do you know where Estonia is?" I said, "Well, not really." Anyway, Anni, tell us about EIA and how it all began.
Yeah, so EIA got started actually already in 2011 when Microsoft acquired Skype. So Skype is one of the most famous startup success stories coming out from Estonia. And the founders of Skype were just students at the technical university. So back at that time, the Microsoft's management visited Estonia, and we had several meetings where we discussed the way how we could put together a program that could produce new Skypes. So new startup success stories, right? And if you think about that time, 2011 in Europe, if you said that you were doing a startup, it meant that you were doing something illegal. Because, I mean, building a startup wasn't the normal everyday life like we're having right now. So building a program like European Innovation Academy in 2013 was revolutionary. So yeah, in 2013, we had our first program in Estonia, in Tallinn.
Hey, how many students participated, Anni?
I think we had around 300 students already in the first year.
Does this guy look familiar?
Oh yeah, I think he was the most annoying student in the program. He sent me like a bunch of emails before the program, during the program, after the program, and he got himself in trouble all the time. But putting jokes aside, actually, he's one of my closest friends, and he has been a remarkable support for me and for EIA. So yeah, I know this guy.
Luke's team created this app called Zyka long before it was ever a virus. I remember Luke being so diligent. Luke is an amazing speaker. So he was the one that pitched for his team. And I remember Luke and I rehearsing about 30 times to get the pitch perfect. And, you know, 7, 8 years later, whenever I think of Luke, the thing that I see in my mind is Zyka, Zyka, Zyka. He's an amazing friend. Luke is that little brother I never had. And Luke is that friend that just wants to try new things, go new places, start new businesses, take on new adventures. In fact, here's Luke coming to Seoul to celebrate my birthday a couple of years ago. So with a man that really doesn't need introductions for people who know him, let's bring on Luke, head of Zyka.
Cool. Are you able to see me and hear me clearly? All right, perfect. So I'll keep this short. Number one, EIA, I owe a lot of my life to. It's an incredible program, and it does a great job of hosting a great show from which you can learn not only whether you are an entrepreneur, but whether you're not. And it allows you to sift through your passions so quickly that at the end, you feel like, wow, I found myself in a way that I thought I couldn't 15 days ago. If there's one lesson I learned, it's this. Definitely know the unwritten rules, but don't regard them, don't entertain them. There are many unwritten rules, but don't follow them. The way I recruited my team was I got assigned a team, emailed Anni for the email list of the entire student group, and then pretty much poached the best out of that email list, fired 2 people before we even started. And it turns out from the guys you see at that table, one of them, we ran into each other again years later in the blockchain world. And turns out he's currently running a cafe in Thailand. But prior to that, he did a bunch of different things. Yeah, Kaor is doing many cool things right now. But anyway, know the unwritten rules, but do not entertain them if you want to do great things. The other thing is, just to let you all know what I'm doing right now and how it might be useful to you. It's a community of paying it forward. I just finished my term as co-founder of the Berkeley Blockchain Accelerator. So we are a worldwide facing non-student accelerator. and we've done quite good work. If you have blockchain related questions or concerns or companies, then let me know, I can help you out. And previous to that, I was CMO at a global blockchain firm, which was a headache. We had 6 or 7 different products in financial industries and cryptocurrencies, in data management, all this kind of stuff. And just to be clear, that's not my passion at all. I just kind of fell into all the emerging markets and frontier tech industries. So anyway, that's my intro. And if you look at LinkedIn, you'll see everything. So I won't go further. Yeah.
Thank you, Luke. I have a question for you. Did you know where was Estonia when you came to our Study Abroad program in Tallinn?
Actually, yes. So I was one of the few who did. My college major was all about Europe and the past 100 or so years of Europe. So I started my journey from north, east, downwards. And the first time around, I didn't even care to hit Spain or any of those nice places my friends would go to. I just wanted to see Scandinavia, see the Baltics. So I was excited about Estonia.
Yeah, but you were really brave to come to Estonia for Study Abroad program. You were like 18 years old, like you were saying. So why do you think it is so important for undergrads to go to Study Abroad programs?
For undergrads, it's very important to go out of their bubble. 2 bubbles. Number 1 is geographic, and number 2 is academic. So if you're studying something, it's a great idea to get out of that sphere and experience what else is in the world, especially if you plan to specialize later on. For example, On is in IP, but he does a lot of other things in other industries. And I wonder how boring his life would be if all he did was IP every day. IP lecturing, IP professoring, IP. The guy does a lot more than just pure intellectual property securing and defense thereof. And Annie, I think you run an accelerator program, but you travel the world, you set up new things, you work with different governments. And so that's my point. It's very, very ideal for a doctor, for example, to come to EIA, for an astronaut to come to EIA, not just business majors.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you so much.
All right, let's go to 2014. I love Tallinn, Anni, but Tallinn is not the French Riviera. So Nice, tell us about where you took us in 2014.
Yeah, in 2014, we understood quickly that if we want to go global, we need to go out from Estonia. Our vision has always been to reach 1 million people. And moving the program around the world is only way how we can actually reach it. And since the start, we had an idea that we want to help countries to develop their startup ecosystem. And already in 2014, Estonia was one of the most innovative countries in the world. So there was no use of us there. So we said bye to rainy, windy, cold, dark Estonia, and we moved to French Riviera under the palm trees. And in 2014, we had our first program there. And I think we had more than 400 students. So that was a great summer.
Yes, and this guy was one of our students. Ken Madsen is hands down one of the most inspiring people I know. His company Dexter created smart toys, right? So if your kid plays with this toy can tell how creative your kid is. It can tell how adaptive your kid is, what type of a problem solver your kid is, or how sensitive they are. It basically gauged the cognitive capabilities. Now, Ken's team was our scholarship winner that year. So we worked a lot with Ken, patent mining and refining. Lot of ups, lot of downs, lot of victories. And in the end, they even got a patent in the United States. They expanded it to Europe, to Korea, to Japan, and China. And eventually, like 90% of startups up there, Dexter failed. But that's okay. Those of us in the startup know that failure is not a big deal. Everybody fails. If you don't fail a couple of times in the startup world, something's not right. What I love about Ken, and the reason I respect him so much, is because he's really, really taken on a mission to educate, to speak, and to help other startups learn from what he did right and learn from what he didn't do right. So Ken's taking a little bit of time off now, but I think it's just a matter of time before we see the next new adventure that Ken embarks on. So without further ado, let's go to Copenhagen, Denmark, and meet Ken Madsen.
Thank you, An. Thank you very much. Wonderful to be on the call here with all these lovely guys, alumni of EIA, and partners and friends and new students of EIA, as I understand it. Pure pleasure. These clinics that An started talking about, I can highly recommend it. Back in 14, in Nice, we hadn't really thought about patents, but we thought, hey, the guys are here, they're presented as the attorneys of Apple. You know, if we could get 5 minutes in front of those guys, we could, you know, pick their brains for whatever it's worth. And about 5 minutes into that presentation, An kind of stops the whole thing and he goes like, you want to do what? One of the other guys leans over the table and says, my kid's school just called me the other day and told me if we should go out and get some Legos because her dexterity wasn't on par with her age. So you're telling me that I'd be able to see that if she was playing with your toys? And we're like, yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do. Keep in mind, we are sitting there with 3D printed prototypes with plastic and wires. You know, they're not the right size. They're not functioning at all. We're just trying to you know, explain what it is we're trying to get to down the line, right? And these guys understood it, and that ended up winning us the grant and paved the way for, I would say, pretty much the future of our company. You know, being able to raise significant capital, several rounds around the world, trying to get to that silly idea we had back in 13, 14 of those really small blocks, insanely intelligent, charging, communication, motions, everything in every single block. Trying to get to that point, the patent and the work we did with An, springing out of the basis from EIA, right, setting us on that direction. That's been incredibly defining for the last 5-6 years of my life, and now the future as well. My God, my hair has turned so gray over the years through all of this. I'm not 29 anymore, that's for sure. But damn, that's it's stars on the shoulder, and yes, it's a failure, and it's a really difficult time to go through as a founder. In our case, it was pretty much from one day to the other. We are raising around $10 million valuation the one day, and the next day we have to pull the plug, emergency handbrake, because the Chinese investor pulled out. You know, that's just one of those sucker punches. You gotta take it, and you gotta roll with it and figure out what do we do? How do we make sure we don't get, you know, sued by gruntled investors, that we handle the employees correctly. And thank God we had done this patent work with An and the team, kind of giving us this sort of lifeline that gives us other opportunities after the company dies. There's still something there that you can work with, that you can, you know, try to salvage or whatever. So it might not be Dexter, but hey, we might still see some building blocks that are pretty intelligent at some point.
Thank you, Ken. I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So what would you tell to young startups who don't succeed at the first time? What should keep them what should motivate them to keep on going?
Well, the first thing I learned was that, you know, from being somebody that's really embodying the company that he's founded with his teammates, that you are going through fire and ice with. If you look at the picture in the middle here, Loic is the gentleman in the middle of the picture, and he was on the team at EIA, right? So he's been with us, with me for several years through all of this. So when you have to let those people go, you feel like a personal failure. I mean, it's such a personal thing. It's you, at least that's what you feel, that's what you think, that it's you that's failing. In my case, it took me 3 months with intensive not discussions, let's call it talks and campfires with our investors and with my mentors, to get to that state where I could take myself out of the failure of the company and be really professional about it. And that's really golden thing to learn. If you fail, be professional about it. And don't be that guy that walks around and keeps saying, you know, I should have done or I could have done. You know, if you could have done or if you should have done it, you should have done it when you could have done it. You know.
That's well
So,
said.
you know, the world is full enough, especially the startup world is full enough of this BS kind of attitude. You know, be straight up about it. We made decisions. We went for it. We knew the risks, and that ended up costing us the company. And that is what it is. So getting to that professional point after the failure is important, I think. And if you played it right, your investors will actually come back and say, so what's the next thing you're doing? You know, that's a pretty good stamp.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your story. So I guess it's a
Happy
great
to.
lesson for all the startups out there.
Absolutely. And please, please, please do reach out with anything that you think I can help you with.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ken. It's always great to be inspired by you. Well, in 2015, ooh la la, Anni, you took us to the center of Nice, my favorite, the old town.
Oh yeah, beautiful, right? So EIA got big. We moved from Antipolis, that is around 15 kilometers from Nice, to the center of Nice, because we reached 500 participants. So that summer, we established more than 100 startups.
Well, there's two people I remember in particular. They came from Arizona State University. Christopher and Maria, they had a very interesting idea. They showed up my clinic and they said, hey, An, what do you think if you could monitor and water plants using an app on your phone? Now, this is 2015 when I was 31. So this was kind of revolutionary at the time, right? I remember thinking, hey, this is actually a really, really good idea. And by the way, there's 5 people on your team. Why are you two the only people here? I remember them telling me, oh, the other teammates didn't really believe in the idea. And I remember thinking, they're losers. They're losers. This is an amazing idea. You guys got to get a patent on it. And that's exactly what they did when they got back to the United States. They had their patent allowed on March 28, 2018. But you know what? That's not even the real story. The real story is somewhere along the way, working together, Chris and Maria fell in love and they got married. Who says you can't find love at EIA? So let's go to Silicon Valley. Let's bring on Chris and Maria to talk about their journey.
Hi, thanks for the great intro.
Hi, so thanks, Ann and Annie. So with the help of Arizona State University and the Edson Student Entrepreneurship Initiative, we were able to get seed funding to bring our Be Sprout idea to EIA. And we entered EIA as a couple, and it was our first time traveling abroad together, and no one could have prepared us for the amount of jet lag that we'd feel during our first week, or how conflicted we would be in wanting to travel Europe while also wanting to make the most out of EIA and make the most out of all the workshops. But somehow we got through it, and we definitely became a stronger couple because of that. And we also both became better people because of having attended EIA.
Yeah, the accelerated startup development and the hackathon kind of gave us a trial by fire for our relationship and let us know that we can tackle pretty much anything together, from running a company to whatever else life throws our way. So EIA was kind of like a premarital counseling for us because we had to go through these different challenges together while trying to maintain a loving relationship. And we found out that we also needed to make time for ourselves to enjoy the south of France and visit Monaco and different places on the weekends so that we can kind of make time for ourselves and slow down to enjoy life while we're also working on this fast-paced startup development. And so when we got married 2 years after EIA, we were confident that we could make the most of life's opportunities by working together as a team and also taking time to enjoy life together.
So we both took away a lot from EIA, both like the workshops, from meeting other people, from being in a new place, and all of the entrepreneurship skills that we learned at EIA. Chris still uses as a product developer at Google, and I've used it I've used all of those skills several times every day of my life since EIA. The most important thing that I took from EIA wasn't becoming the next unicorn company. So if that happens, I'm very happy for you. But that wasn't my case. So I learned that I never have to be unhappy in a job. I learned that all it takes to make a job switch is to just learn a new set of skills. And as long as I was willing to put in the time and effort to make that happen, I've gone from being a photo editor, data analyst, software engineer, and now I work with animals, rehabilitating wildlife, while also I run an art business on the side. And if I hadn't attended EIA back in 2015, I would have never gained the confidence to be able to just take a leap of faith every once in a while. And I realized that if I'm not feeling fulfilled, sorry, that was our dog. If I'm not feeling fulfilled, I don't do my best work. So thank you, EIA, and thank you, Annie and On, for giving me that encouragement and the push and changing my life forever.
At EIA, On's presentation was especially inspiring to us because it helped us to realize that we should pursue a patent. So we met with him after EIA and ultimately ended up getting our patent approved, which is right here. And when we returned to the States, we used the customer development skills that we learned at EIA to interview customers and refine our business proposition while building prototypes. But all of this moonlighting became kind of unsustainable for us at some point. So we've halted work on B-Sprout for the time being so we can devote time to our other jobs. But I'm glad that we built this foundation on lean product development, and we can apply this to future entrepreneurial ventures. And I'm especially glad that we learned to navigate ambiguity together so we can emerge a better couple.
Thank you, guys. So I have a question for you. So I think that we can take you as an example. Oh my God, Poppy. Okay, never mind. Okay, no, I will still ask the question. So I think we can take you as an example of young entrepreneurs who are not only thinking about the success of their startup, but you are also prioritizing your relationship. So give us a tip. How did you balance your startup life and your personal life?
So I think for me, the big thing was realizing that we both have different strengths and weaknesses, and we both manage stress differently. So for example, I'm a big planner. I like to have an itinerary of my day. I like to make to-do lists. And Chris just likes to kind of go with the flow of things. And so we have to manage our expectations and know that the things that we, like for example, things that I require, like knowing if I'm going to stay in on the weekend and work on my B-Sprout things or travel around France. Like I wanted to know that the night before, and then Chris just wanted to wake up and decide and just kind of go out the door. So learning to balance those things and getting to know each other better definitely helped.
Yeah, I think part of it's like scheduling too, like scheduling time for each other where we're not focusing on work, and other times where we're focusing on work. So we know kind of what we're supposed to do at different times, so it's not blending together too much, which could create a stressful situation.
That's a good point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks for the awesome opportunity.
It's always great to see you guys.
You too.
Well, now we go from the sunniness of B-Sprout to this is one of the worst times of my life, honestly. And I feel like I still get choked up every time I think about this. So I'm gonna shut up and let Anni speak.
Yeah, so 2016, indeed, it showed us what life is actually about, right? So we faced the most unexpected situation that we were not prepared for. I think nobody was prepared for that. So on 14th of July in 2016, a truck drove the people and killed 86 people. And 3 of those people were actually our students. So we lost 3 guys. We lost Misha, who came from Ukraine. He joined our program through Canada. Nick from UC Berkeley and US. and Ricard, who came from Estonia. And I have to be honest, we went through hell. I guess you understand why, because again, this kind of situation is something that you can never even imagine. But we did carry on with our activities and with our mission. And the reason behind that is that those 3 boys came to our program with an idea to become entrepreneurs. And our job now is to make sure that we give this chance to as many students as possible.
Anni, you are way too humble, and I know you're Estonian, so you don't like to take compliments. So I am asking you to put yourself on mute and let me praise you a little bit. I don't know if anybody here can imagine what it was like. There's a time at EIA where on the weekends, the mentors from the first phase leave, and it's before the mentors from the second phase leave. And when this happened, a lot of mentors said, we're not coming. And I remember just scrambling. 3 of our students were killed on Bastille Day during the celebration when that truck ran down the promenade. 2 of our students were run over by the truck, and 1 student jumped over the railing. He hit his head and he died immediately. Anni has many, many, many strains, and I love her as one of my dearest friends. But I think in that devastation, I saw the real Anni. I saw what you really are. You were looking for missing students, because even though we knew 3 died, we didn't know what happened to all the other students. You were going to the hospital, you were going to the police station, you were running the embassies. Every university that had students there was calling you, and you were constantly on the phone with the universities explaining what happened. And I think the worst part for you was just having to call the parents. And when those parents wanted to come to Nice, you had to make the funeral arrangements. I know you barely slept, you were stressed out, but the entire time, Anni, the entire time you were calm, you were confident, you were unwavering through the entire storm. You are my hero.
Oh, I didn't expect that, Don. Thank you so much for your kind words. But I have to say the whole EIA team was incredible. Just to name a few, we had Joanna, we had Christina, we had Adina. I hope Adina is in the call as well. Back at that time, we also had our program in Italy. So we had our first year in Italy. And what our team members and our students did in Italy, they launched a global campaign called EIA Strong. And that was to show strength and support to everybody who got impacted by the terrorism attack. That was insane.
That's why this image that you're seeing means so much to me. This is what our brothers and sisters in Italy sent to us, those of us that were in Nice. They're saying, hey, don't give up. We believe in you. There's hope, and the devastation, as bad as it is, there's gonna be better days. And that really is the essence of EIA. You're not just going for a 3-week summer program, you're joining a community of 10,000 startups, entrepreneurs, mentors, universities, faculty. So it is, and it will forever be EIA Strong.
Thank you. Yeah.
So moving on to 2017, Anni, I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually really Italian. I know I look Asian, but
are you?
I'm really Italian. And you can tell because when I talk, I move all my hands all the time, right? Like, grazie, you know. So you brought us to Torino, Italy, 2017. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So after 2016, we moved our home base to Turin, to Italy. Yeah, those are just some of the few pictures we're having from Italy. That was, oh, it's amazing. But we didn't just go to Turin. We decided to take it over big. So we took our 700 participants to Turin, to Milan, and to Rome. So we literally rented 10 trains, not cars, trains, from the National Italian Train Company to cover the whole Italy with innovation. So you can imagine. So, I mean, we also started our program in Portugal this summer. So it was a crazy, insane, busy summer. But on the same time, I think it's one of the best years of EIA. And do you want to remember how many Aperol spritzes did we have this summer?
Yes, I certainly do. Here's a picture of me drinking Aperol Spritz in every city in Italy. Anni, did you know that I personally introduced the Aperol Spritz to the United States? I mean, to our American audience that's on the call right now, did any of you guys know what an Aperol Spritz was before I introduced it to you? I think not. But also what I loved about being in Torino is I got to meet this punk, Matt Sozio from VCU. Matt and his childhood friend, Neil Haley, who are two ingenious frat bros, decided that the time had come for us to redesign a French door. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking French door, seriously? Yeah, French door. Well, as it turns out, Matt and Neil have won a number of awards for their design. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm gonna play the video so you're gonna see the incredible design that our two bros developed. Sorry. And without further ado, let's go ahead and head to Raleigh, North Carolina and Richmond, Virginia to meet the dynamic duo of Matt and Neil.
Hello, everybody.
No.
My name is Matthew. I'm one of the French slide. Am I breaking up?
Matt, your speaker's a little off.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear me?
No, your mic sounds a bit fuzzy.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Neil, why don't we have you start talking as Matt's kind of
Yeah.
technical difficulties.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Can you hear me better now?
Go ahead, Neil.
Okay, yeah, great. Well, so I was actually one of the ones that didn't attend EIA that year, but Matt, as soon as he got back, told me about this amazing patent lawyer that he had met in Italy, and that we had to connect with him further. And so we were actually invited after that to go to Nixon Peabody to do a patent mining session. Really further and really think about as many possible variations and different ways that the door could function. And so that really got us on this path of developing French slide further. And so we ended up filing a patent in 2017, which was approved in September of last year. And so we've been working on developing different prototypes and meeting with different manufacturers to license the technology.
Hey, that's really smart. Matt's actually calling in, so we'll be able to hear you on the phone. Hey, Neil, what are some of the accomplishments that you guys have done? Talk a little bit about the manufacturing aspect of the work you're doing.
Yeah, so one of the things that was important to us with this product is we really wanted the ability to integrate the functionality of the sliding and the hinging into as many as possible, whether they might be manufactured from wood, vinyl, or fiberglass, or even metal. And so the way that we've been approaching this is we've developed multiple different prototypes of the actual mechanism itself, and we've been meeting with different manufacturers. For example, we went to Glass Build America, a big trade show last year, and met with different hardware manufacturers, trying to partner with them to integrate our technology into the full manufactured patio doors and windows that they sell.
Can you hear me a little bit better?
Much better.
Yes.
Yay! Hey guys. Sorry about that. I apologize. No, so as Neil was saying, I personally went to EIA. It was one of the best experiences of my life. That's where I was fortunate enough to meet Lou and get introduced to Nixon Peabody. Unfortunately, we didn't take French slide to EIA, but what I did do is go there with an open mind. Ended up joining a team of Australians and really making friends for life. I still talk to some of them today. So after EIA, took what I learned from that, from customer discovery to just simple validation and how to start a startup, and brought it back. And me and Neil have been using that methodology today. And currently in my my corporate role, we're still using that. So it's really exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Neil. Thank you so much, Matt. It's always great to see you guys.
Thanks so much, On.
Thank you.
All right, in 2018, Anni has always loved Asia. Her favorite city in the world is Tokyo, and she said when she gets married, she wants to get married in Tokyo. So you took us to Asia. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, 2018 was a great lesson for EIA. So besides having programs both in Portugal as well as Italy, we launched a program in China, and we got a great lesson from that. So lesson to all the new and young startups: always think 10 times more, think 10 times before you're entering a market as difficult as China. But expanding to Asia and expanding our program overall has always been our dream. So it was a remarkable summer.
Well, while Anni was in China, I was falling in love with Torino all over again, and it's become my favorite city in Italy. In our pitch competition, we met this guy. This is Jack Zimmerman. He's a champion wrestler from the University of Alabama. His team Rottweiler developed an invention for dual proximity motion detection. Basically, what happens is it stops thieves from stealing your iPhone or your laptop by integrating two separate signals that trigger an alarm when you're out of range. So let's travel to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and say hi to the head of Rottweiler, Jack Zimmerman.
Hi, On. Thank you so much for that great intro. And to echo some of the sentiments that the other panelists have said so far, when people ask me what is the most influential thing you have ever done, I respond, European Innovation Academy. No second thoughts about it. And it was really because I came into EIA as this insecure sophomore, and I had this dream of making an impact and being able to change the world someday. And EIA has really taught me the leader I can be and how I can go about in doing that. And a startup is a great way to do it. So, and it was so incredible throughout the entire program. I made so many friends, and I built this international network that I can go out to almost any country in Europe and even Australia and Pakistan, and I can find somebody that I can meet up with and that I can maybe see if I'm in the right geographic area. So that was one of the most incredible things. And it was so great because some of the mentors, they really believed in me. There were some great people that have done all these amazing things. And when they believe in you, you have to believe in yourself. And that's what transformed me from this person that wanted to make an impact but didn't think they could do it to somebody that has been rolling off that momentum. And luckily the program ended with us at Rottweiler winning the patent scholarship. And that led to me working with Brad, who he hasn't gotten enough love in this presentation. He's the man. So, and he really pushed us to really explore all of our options in a patent. And that's what the big thing we learned is how much you have to understand your technology and your competitor's technology when you file for a patent. You have to go through and you have to look through every competitor and every potential competitor's patents, and you have to understand their technology almost as well as they do. And at the same time, you have to go through your own technology and go through every single line, every single detail, and find where there's a weakness that someone could potentially exploit and how to get rid of it. So if you don't go through a ton of pivots while going through market research, you're definitely going to go through some while you're going through your patent process. So those are some of the great things that EIA taught me. And like I said, it has been such an influential experience on my life that I know no matter what I do, I'm going to be able to roll this forward, and I'm going to end up with so much confidence in creating an impact and such a great network of people like On and Annie and Brad.
It's so funny to hear you speak, Jack, because it's a complete surprise to me that you've ever been shy in your life. You've got a presence and a power. Thank you so much for joining us. Always great to see you.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Well, 2018, we actually had another winner. Let me introduce you to one of my favorite students of all time. This is Joshna Shilam. Joshna was part of the Fantastic Four that comprised a group called Kilo Medical. They studied together as engineers at Virginia Commonwealth University, and they came to EIA together. When the team went back to the United States after Italy, they focused on their invention, which is a brilliant one. What they wanted to do is they wanted to save the lives of babies that were born prematurely. They've had amazing success. This is Joshna here, killing it on stage. This is a picture of their product. And with that, let me turn it over to Joshna.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Awesome. Well, thank you, An, for that introduction. And thank you to EIA as well for giving me this opportunity to share about Kilo. It is truly an honor because my journey as an entrepreneur and as a startup founder really started at EIA. My formal education, like An was mentioning, is in biomedical engineering. And then as a team, we've done product innovation through the Da Vinci Center at Virginia Commonwealth University, where I learned a lot of technical skills. And using that knowledge, we decided to launch Kilo Medical Solutions, which is a pediatric medical device startup. We started our journey in 2018, same year that I went to EIA. And since then, we've made tremendous progress in terms of building prototypes, raising money, validating our business models, you name it. We've also gained a lot of traction ranging from state, local, national, international levels, everything. And I'm sharing all of this because our success has a lot to do with what we've learned at EIA. The process of creating a startup company in just 3.5 to 4 weeks, it was an incredibly educational and valuable journey for us because we were coming from an engineering background. So we've learned everything from ideating to doing customer discovery interviews to validating your business models, your pricing strategies, everything, pitching in front of investors. All of those for us were lessons learned that we've applied when we came back to United States. And we've taken away so much in the sense that the first thing that we did when we got back was we applied for a customer discovery grant through the National Science Foundation because we realized it is so important that you're solving a problem that actually needs to be solved versus as engineers, you know, we like to solve problems. So that was our biggest takeaway. And there's things like that where we came back, we put those into our lessons into practice. And since then, we haven't looked back. There's a lot of ups and downs in this journey, and EIA has given us sort of an overview of what it would look like as a startup founder. Apart from Kilo, though, I want to echo what Zach was saying in terms of meeting your friends that are all over the world. I'm still in touch with my team at EIA. We did not work as a team. We did not work as the Kilo Medical Solutions team at EIA. We've decided we want to work with other people, pursue other ideas, just so that we can really learn what it's like to have a startup. But we're all still in touch with our EIA teams. I have friends that are in Australia, in different countries, and we still talk, although now it's been a little difficult to schedule times, to schedule different time zones and whatnot, but I'm still in touch with all the friends, as well as mentors too. Surprisingly, I've reached out to a lot of different mentors when pursuing Kilo Medical Solutions in terms of advice, in terms of investor connections, utilizing their networks. So for Kilo and for me personally, EIA was truly a period of time where it changed who I am as a professional, as a student, as a leader. So many great things to say about EIA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joshna. It's always great to see you, and it's always great to be inspired by you.
It's all because of programs like EIA.
Thank you.
Now, moving on to 2019, I think of Lisbon, and any of you who've ever been to Lisbon know that the saying, "Dizem que a culpa é da luz." I'm sure I'm saying it completely wrong, but it basically means that when you're in Lisbon, you see light from every direction, not just one direction, but light comes in from everywhere. 2019 was a major triple threat for EIA, right, Anni?
Yeah, actually, besides the program in Portugal, we also had our program in Hong Kong, as well as in Italy. So it's officially the biggest year of EIA as we hosted more than 120 startups in Portugal. So the program in Portugal was opened by the president of Portugal. That's how important our event was, right? So it was a crazy summer, having 3 programs, Hong Kong, Italy, Portugal, more than 600 students, but it was also one of the best summers. So, do you agree, on?
Absolutely, absolutely. And while Anni's always so focused on growth and additions and expanding business, I care about food. And I am never going to forget that 4 or 5 hour Michelin dinner that we had when we were in Torino. And it was also special because it was in Torino that we watched the pitch competition. We had clinics, we judged, and this amazing woman walked across the stage, took the competition by storm. The team name is Astro, and in partnership with Comal, which is an Italian robotics company, they had developed an exoskeleton for astronauts. If I recall correctly, they're the most awarded team in EIA history, including the Nixon Peabody Patent Award. So let's travel all over to Europe to our team members and meet Team Astro.
Hi, hello everybody. It's an honor to be here. I'm Francesca and my other colleague.
Hi, I'm Davide. Sorry, I was. Adrian, you're muted.
Sorry.
No, we can hear you. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Yeah. So
Okay, sorry. Play, sorry.
So my name is Rachel right now, and I attended VCU's Master of Product Innovation. That's what brought me to EIA initially. I've since graduated with my master, and now I am working for a nonprofit based out of DC.
Davide.
I was an undergrad in economics, business management to be precise, and now I'm in Strasbourg because I'm attending a Master of Space Studies. So
wow,
kind of made the big jump. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you, Davide. Sorry to interrupt you. Francesca.
Hi everybody. So I'm Francesca and I'm attending the second year of a PhD in physics, while during the EIA I was attending the last year of my master in nanotechnology for smart society.
Awesome. Adrian.
Yeah, so at EIA I was actually studying computer engineering, and right now I'm doing a master in Switzerland in computational science and engineering.
We also want to acknowledge that we have a 5th member who is not able to be on the call today due to his studies, but Gabriele is also from Italy. He was studying at Politecnico. Great guy. We're sorry he's not here, so just want to say that he's here in spirit.
Tell us about Astro. Tell us about the work you've done and tell us about your journey.
Yeah, basically the project started when Comal proposed itself as a partner to EIA and made a direct skeleton available to everyone to propose a project. So basically I started bombarding them with emails and just begging them to let us do something space related with it. They were not super eager at the beginning. We actually had to convince them. I remember like during the first day I was like forming the team, and at the same time I was still trying to convince Comal. So we got the green light just at the last minute possible. But then we kind of started this project as a passion project, basically. There was a lot of things we had to figure out along the way. But I mean, you all helped us out a great deal. And even though we actually had to do some extra work because we had to respect all the EIA deadline and also like complying with all Comal's requirements, I think we did a pretty great job in the end. And I mean, working with a big company like Comal is very rewarding in the end. We learn a lot of stuff that will be using for sure in our future careers.
Okay, so as you maybe understood from Dave, our idea started as a passion idea, let's say, starting from our passion for space and aerospace, but then it needed to be turned into a real and concrete project, and we had less than 3 weeks to do this. Of course, it was scary, and sometimes we thought that we wouldn't succeed, but fortunately, we had the support of amazing teachers and mentors, starting from a professor of aerospace engineering in Turin, who helped us to realize that the biggest issue for astronauts in orbit was their spinal cord distension. And then we adjusted a little bit our idea in order to fix the problem. Then we had the incredible opportunity to learn by Ian McNish, who was our chief mentor, and as you know, of course, one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. And he was truly fundamental on our journey, since he always kept us grounded, and he helped us to remain focused on our purpose, which was the creation of a product that could be at the end sold. Moreover, under his guidance and the guidance of all our mentors, we grew up as team and as individuals, since they saw our individual potentials and helped us to believe in them. And for this reason, of course, we will always be grateful to EIA.
Yeah, so in addition to just the great mentorship that was provided from our EIA mentors and team, we really have Nixon Peabody to thank. So thank you so much. While we were over there, he really helped us figure out kind of what our options were and how to move forward. So he helped us work as a team to articulate all of our different goals. As we mentioned before, we are all still in different academic situations. We're across the globe. We're, talking about an actual startup and taking that outside of EIA is kind of like a scary thing when you're in there, kind of like, you mean all of the stuff that I'm doing could have like implications? So he really helped us make those decisions on, what did we want our exit strategy to be? How can we use that now and leverage that for our benefit? So now actually we've all been able to contribute to the development of a provisional patent. And we really needed both Anlu's and Brad's guidance, especially in those early stages of figuring out what the heck are we doing. So we're excited to share that this October, we're actually going to file for a provisional patent from our EIA, which is super cool. We're excited to see what happens with us, but EIA in general has just afforded us a lot of great opportunities, and we're so thankful for it.
Yeah, also on my part, so when I came into EIA, the first couple of days, I was really feeling overwhelmed by the amount of people and the amount of movement. And I really just wanted to find an inspiring idea. And that's when I met the Team Astro and everyone was there. And as everyone said, we were surrounded by very talented and international people, the mentors and everyone. And so if you are in a situation like that, you should really take advantage and make contacts and learn a lot from them. For me, the EIA experience helped me get into an internship in Austria, into a data science team, because when you work in a team in a startup, it really makes us strong with the Nixon board. Actually, I remember the guy that was in the interview for the internship. He was really eager to ask me about the awards. So I can say it was one of the main reasons I got accepted into the internship. And after that, I applied for a master in Switzerland, and that's where I am right now. So I can say that I really lost the fear of being international. And I am also really glad that even if our team is all over the world, we are still being connected by EIA, and we can push through the difficulties of the professional life together. And with the help of On and Brad, we can manage our IP.
Guys, it is so great to see you. It's fantastic to see you bringing your team together from all over Europe and the United States. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
With that provisional patent. All right, Anni, 2020 we're here. What are we doing in 2021?
Yeah, in 2020, we obviously had to put our programs on pause, but not for long. So in 2021, we're going to return with 2 programs. So first of all, we're going to have a huge program in Portugal next July. We're aiming to have around 500 participants. And of course, we wouldn't be Innovation Academy if we wouldn't come up with something new, right? So we have worked hard and we have put together the world's first online European Innovation Academy. So check out more information and join us next summer.
Okay, Anni, you've been asking so many thoughtful questions throughout the day today. I've got one final one for you. You are the architect of EIA. You've helped build this from the ground up to 85 people to what is it, thousands that we have today. How does it feel to see so many stars in the constellation that you built?
Yeah, good question. More than anything else, it makes me feel proud, and it really gives to me and the whole EIA team a motivation to keep on going, keep on educating students and putting more programs out there. So I'm so grateful for this session. It really reminded me why we are doing what we are doing.